Right, let's start here. The country's municipal debt to Eskom is a massive 50 billion rand. Despite the escalating power crisis, consumers will be paying more for their electricity. This as the National Energy Regulator of South Africa has just granted the power utility an 18.65% tariff increase. Many people are now wondering what this means for municipalities in debt to Eskom. What impact will this hike have on its debt? Now, eNCA reporter Heidi Giokos is looking for the answers to these questions, and she joins us now live in studio. She's got an update after speaking to a few people about the developments yesterday. Heidi, what has been the reaction so far to the people you've spoken to about this increase? South Africans are very upset.
Yes, I think nobody is going to accept this, Masego. Who would want to accept an 18.65% electricity price hike, given the current economic climate that everybody is in, and given the cost of living going up? Of course, as you've read in your introduction, NERSA has indicated that this is what they need to do, and Eskom might be in a better off position because people will be paying a lot more for electricity. But I think what the concern here is that what are we actually paying for? You have told consumers that you'll be paying 18.65% more for electricity, but the country is most of the time subjected to the worst kind of rolling blackouts that we've seen. Last year was probably the worst year, and this year might top that. The country is currently in stage 6 load shedding indefinitely, and it seems as though the situation is going to get worse. 11 generators are not working, yet we are told that we're going to be paying 18.65% more for electricity. We got a chance to speak to Labour Federation COSATU, who have rejected this, which most people have indicated they are going to reject this. And they are indicating that there's a large number, millions of people are still living off social grants. People are unemployed. As I mentioned, the economy is not doing well. There's low economic growth. There's unemployment, yet there's a need to increase electricity, but Eskom cannot sort itself out. So it doesn't seem as though the situation is going to get better. And for example, Labour Federation COSATU says that this is unacceptable and should have not happened. Let's listen to COSATU on this.
This is really a slap in the face because it seems as if everyone is indifferent to their plight. People are looking around and they see nothing wrong. It's not just workers, it's actually employers who are going to look around and realize that there is actually no need to continue to keep some of the operations going. As a result, we are going to experience job losses. And then Eskom itself, long term, is going to pay a huge price for these tariff hikes. This money is actually not even going to go to help with the revamping of infrastructure. It is going to go on debt service cost. We have been having discussions for the last 5 years on this question. In 2019, we submitted a proposal called the Eskom Social Compact, where we said, look, let's all come together as social partners and look at ways of halving the Eskom debt. Government in the last, I think, midterm budget policy statement did come out and say they were prepared to take 50% of the Eskom debt and put it under the national debt. That is actually should be our focus area here, is to relieve Eskom of the burden of spending a lot of this money on debt service cost, so that whatever money that is being generated can be spent on infrastructure repair. That is really the issue here. As workers, we would have actually looked at everything and said there should have been no increase, because the reality is many people cannot afford this. You have 24 million people who are on social welfare.
And Heidi, I believe you also spoke to Zwelinzima Mavavi. What did he say about this?
Yes, so I think the sentiments that people are sharing across the board are very similar. Masego, for example, yesterday, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana spoke about the kind of message that they'll be sending and giving to world leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos next week, where President Cyril Ramaphosa will also be attending. And what kind of message will you be giving world leaders when the country is basically plunged into darkness and our economy is literally battling and on its knees? But the finance minister came out and said that what the work that Eskom is doing so far is commendable. That, of course, was not well received by South Africans because soon after we were told that we'll be paying 18.65% more for electricity. But back to the issue of what the finance minister said, he said that come the budget speech in February, there will be more announcements and moves with regards to the massive debt that Eskom finds itself in. And he was saying that they need to balance they need to balance Eskom's debts. How they're going to do that, it's interesting, because where's the money going to come from? And it leads into what Zwelinzima Vavi said about Eskom's debt and how that in itself is a crisis that should be addressed urgently. And it speaks to the state that many municipalities are in. We know there are a large number of municipalities that have completely defaulted. They are not paying Eskom what is owed. You have ratepayers saying this is unacceptable. We are paying the municipalities. Why are the municipalities not paying Eskom? Electricity gets cut off. Matters are taken to court. So Eskom has a huge task on its hands to sort itself out, but also to make sure that what is owed to it is paid by these municipalities. And that debt, Masego, is almost at 50 billion rand. How is that even possible? But that is the reality of it. But let's perhaps listen to Zwelinzima Vavi from SAFTU.
Things are falling apart. I don't know how many people are still believing that there's going to be a future under the current administration led by the ANC, unfortunately. Eskom has brought 700 billion rands on capital expenditure since 2007, but it produces a 25% less electricity today than it did then. The money has gone mainly to pay the corrupt Gorogoro, Medupi, and Kusile coal-fired power plants, for which Eskom owes most of the 400 billion rands of liabilities and debt to lenders like World Bank and the Western governments, import-export banks, which would have been cancelled under normal circumstances as forming part of what we call the odious debt, and which is something that we make a call now. Without workers mobilizing on the ground and uniting with the rest of society to demand an end to this road we are traveling in, I'm afraid there will be no future for our country and for the generations to come.